Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So, to here, if you remember, we have discussed liquid extraction, this introduction, and in last two lectures, we talked about various equipment used in liquid extraction. So, next part is related to the calculation, or you can say about some, I guess, design calculations, but before we directly jump towards design calculation, there are in between some few things which need to be discussed, and that is like ternary liquid extraction system equilibrium. So I think in this lecture and next lecture, hopefully we will cover all this content. So although we were already studying from chapter 8 like liquid extraction, but in this lecture specifically and the next lecture we will go back to the chapter 4, and this is section 4.4 of your textbook. I think there are also some content from some other textbooks, but majorly you can also follow like this chapter 4 of your textbook, and that will be enough, because here there are problems related to that section, because we are going to talk about some equation and then application of those equations in the form of problems. So that is from section 4.4 of your textbook. By this lecture, I think in next lecture we will finish all this. So I will let you know then when we will come back to the chapter 8. So till then, chapter 4 section 4.4. So here in this lecture we will study that what ternary liquid extraction system at equilibrium is, and system involving like two type of system we will discuss. One is that in which we will be talking about immiscible solvents. Like there will be two solvents. We will talk about it already. If you are somewhere initially when we started with this, you know about it, but quickly we'll revise that. What does this immiscible solvents mean, and then there are partially miscible solvents. So these are actually two systems. When they will be in equilibrium, we have to discuss this and calculations. So when we look at like equilibrium data, so equilibrium condition for distribution of one solute, you know that in liquid extraction the purpose is to remove one solute from the feed towards the solvent. So when you distribute it, or it is distributed when you contact any feed with some solvent, and during that solute is transferred from a feed towards the newly introduced solvent. So distribution of one solute between two liquid phases, two liquid phases mean one solvent and other feed in which it is already present, is conveniently considered in terms of distribution law. And that distribution law is here in LLE. When you look at distribution of any solute between two phases, one phase is the solvent and other phase is the feed. So later on they are just separated into like extract and raffinate. Based on that, this mean at equilibrium, this constant or distribution constant is defined as somewhere K is equal to concentration of solute in the extract to the concentration of solute in raffinate. You know that when you mix or you bring in contact the solvent and feed, later on when they get settled, they get separated. So two streams we get, one is called raffinate and other was called extract. So extract was that phase which was rich in the solvent, and raffinate is that phase that is rich in the carrier or the feed system, because from that feed we have removed some of the component. They are transferred from this feed to the solvent, and then that phase was named as extract. This is the first lecture where we started, and then the other was named as the raffinate. So in that, if you remember, that extract was shown at the top of each equipment and raffinate was shown at the bottom, but I told you that is not necessary. It depends on the density. Denser one will be at the bottom and the lighter one will be at the top. But in most of the books, and it is convenient, they usually use that extract at the top and raffinate at the bottom, but I mean, it is not necessary always solvent going to the top and feed going to the bottom. It depends on the density, they will be separated. So this K, which is distribution constant, this actually we have to find, and that is equal to, like as mentioned here, concentration of solute in extract phase. Like when we will get extract phase, we will analyze them and find what is the concentration of solute. For example, how much solute is transferred from feed towards this, and concentration of solute which is still there in the feed, which is the raffinate phase. So how much solute is still left over there and not removed towards this new solvent. Their ratio is called this distribution constant. So this relationship, which is we are calling it distribution constant K, which is just ratio of concentration of solute in two phases, extract and raffinate. So this relationship, when we have to apply for the calculation, it will apply only in some of the condition mentioned here. If both solvents are immiscible. What does this mean? What does two solvents mean here? Does anyone know? Guys, look, when we started with this liquid extraction, I told you that this solute is initially carried out with the feed, and we were named that as a carrier, and then there was solute. So this carrier is the major feed part, and that is named as one of the solute. Solvent. So this C carrier, if you remember from there, that was major feed part, and that is one of the solvent. I mean, because this solute will be definitely part of this feed stream, and that we name it as a solvent. So he is naming here both solvents. So that means that one of the major part of the feed, which we are naming it as a carrier, that is one solvent, and other solvent which you introduce from the separately, in which you want to transfer this solute, that is the second solvent. So these two solvents should not be miscible. It was discussed at that time that you have to select solvent in such a way that it should only just take away solute from here, not the other feed components, and that he is naming it as a solvent. So both solvent are immiscible. It means they should not mix with each other, they shouldn't be soluble with each other, only this solvent should have affinity for the solute. So this is one main requirement for application of that equation. Other is there is no association or dissociation of the solute, mean this solute which you want to transfer from feed to the solvent, this should not associate, mean here that reaction shouldn't take place here, that should only get dissolved, that should only be transferred from one like solute to the solvent. It shouldn't go for a reaction, either making something new or just its original identity should not be broken. It should not be distributed into its component. For example, if it is like heavier component, it shouldn't be broken into various parts. So this is the requirement for application of this equation, which we have seen, because here we are just saying concentration of solute. It means solute should remain same as it was originally in the feed, in the same state, and it is transferred to the extract versus which still left over, because you know that 100% is not transferred, something will be still there in the feed stream, which we are calling raffinate. So this is the requirement for application of this equation. If solute is formed of molecule of different molecular weights, then the distribution law holds for each molecular species. For example, here you are looking at number of solute is anything which is transferred. So let's say that there are various components which you want to remove, and they all you are treating as a solute. It means that if you are removing more than one component, because this also we discussed that it is not necessary only one component is removed, maybe there can be more than one component, they are transferred from here from feed to the solvent. So this distribution coefficient will also be applicable for each of those. You can use those, because if they are already different molecules, so they have different structure, that's fine. Mean it is not one molecule which is broken, so that is also valid for those cases. It is also like this is valid where the concentration are small, like distribution law usually hold, provided no chemical reaction. Already told you in the form of association and dissociation that like chemical reaction, whenever it is happening, this will not be applied then, because in that case you lose the identity of the solute. Solute is no more in that form in which originally it was. So whenever we add like addition of a new solvent to a binary mixture, initially we just consider binary mixture. We say that there is a carrier and solute. There are only two components. This you already studied. So binary mixture means only just we are considering here that feed consists of only two components. One is the solute which we are removing, another is like carrier, it's other solvent. So when you will introduce new solvent to that system, of a solute in a solvent. This may lead to various cases. So what can be those cases? Those cases can be, for example, first of all, a homogeneous solution may be formed. What you did, you added one solvent to the feed and they mix with each other and they can form homogeneous solution. What does this mean? It's mean that a new solvent just get mixed with the already available solvent, because solute will be in small amount, solvent will be in large amount. They get mixed with each other and they make homogeneous solution. So in that case, definitely your solvent selection is not suitable, and this was discussed earlier that solvent should be selected in such a way that it should not have affinity with the major component of the feed. It should have affinity only with the solute. The second possibility, when you mix, like for example, solvent and the feed, so what possibility can like appear there? The second possibility is the solvent may be completely immiscible with the initial solvent, which was part of the binary mixture, which was major part of the feed. So this is one extreme, that they completely get mixed, and this is another extreme, that they didn't get mixed with each other. What will happen when they will come in contact with each other? Only solute is transferred from feed towards the solvent, and in this newly introduced solvent, none of part of already available carrier or solvent is transferred. So this is another possibility. Okay, the third possibility can be like the solvent may be partially miscible with the original solvent. So this is the case which usually prevails. Later we will talk about. So what happens when you bring in contact this solvent with the feed? Although solvent is selected that it has affinity for the solute, but at the same time it has some affinity for the like solvent. I will just recall here the example in which we discussed that removal of acetic acid from the water. Actually, you were working there on the to get the concentrated acetic acid, and this was also discussed in initial first or the second lecture, in which we talked about it. Like that is one industrial example in which you want to get glacial acetic acid, which is 99.8% pure, and in order to get that, we just introduced something, ethyl acetate, that was the newly introduced solvent, and when it came in contact with the acetic acid and water mixture, the major objective of this was to just take acetic acid away from this mixture, this feed stream, which was water and acetic acid initially. So if you remember, in that case, some of the water was also transferred, and that was also part of the extract phase. If you don't remember, please after this lecture just check that lecture, or in book just check the diagram of industrial example, and you will get this, that solvent has also some affinity, that is also partially miscible with the newly introduced solvent, in that case which was ethyl acetate. So that has removed in that case major component of the acetic acid from the water stream, but at the same time it also carried away some of the water, and at the same time the water stream, which was the raffinate stream, which was leaving from the bottom of that extractor, that water also contained some amount of ethyl acetate. That both of these cases indicate that these solvent, water and ethyl acetate, they have some affinity for them, and this case is applicable here. Like solvent may have partially miscible with the original solvent, and that will result in a formation of one pair of partially miscible liquids. One pair, like for example, initially I am telling you that at the top there was extract phase, in which ethyl acetate and water was also part of this, and raffinate phase, in that phase also there was like both water as well as ethyl acetate. So there was one pair, one is leaving from the top, they are partially miscible, as well as at the bottom they are also partially miscible. And the fourth case which can arrive, that is a totally new case, and like new solvent may lead to formation of 2 or 3 partially miscible liquids. Like your new solvent, when you introduce it, this can lead to 2 or 3 partially miscible liquid, and this will happen especially when maybe there some reactions take place, because if only in the above case, as we discussed, that there can be formation of 2, like one is at the top carrying both of the solvent, other is at the bottom. But for example, in between, if any reaction take place and anything new is produced, and that also have some affinity with any of these, so then can be more than one layer available inside there. So when you look at all these cases when you are coming in contact like solvent and the feed. So in those cases, like this second and third case which I already mentioned, that they are usually available. Although later we will say that the third case is the most dominant, and that is usually the case, but second can also be sometimes there, like they are completely immiscible, although this is not practically possible. There is some of the affinity between the solvents, but third case, yes, definitely that dominates. So let's consider here we like simplest case of ternary system, and already I think we also talked about what does this ternary mean. Ternary mean having three components. For example, one component is like in the feed, when you look at like component A, which we are calling something like that component which you want to remove. Then there is a carrier as well, newly introduced solvent. So here in this diagram you can see that your feed contain two components, and one component you are just solvent, which are you are just introducing component C. So these are three components. Due to this we are calling it ternary system. If for example your feed contain more than one component, like they are inside that solute are more than one, so overall there can be more than two components, then when you will bring it in contact with a solvent, then it will not be a ternary system, definitely will become a bit complex system containing 4 or 5 components overall. But generally here the discussion is about the ternary system, which you will come across mostly. So in that case, when they will come in contact with each other, for example, you brought feed in contact with the solvent, this solvent mu, and we are calling it as a component C just, and their flow rate are, for example, this for this flow rate is given as F, and for solvent flow rate is S. So when they come in contact inside the extractor, later they leave as a two separate phases. One is extract, another is raffinate. You know, in extract phase, the major component is the solvent and some of the solute, which is just transferred to this from the feed. And as we know that solute component was B, mean here it is not mentioned, like here we only mention two solvents at the top, but B is that component which is like which you want to transfer, which is solute mentioned here, sorry, at the bottom. B is solute. So solute is transferred from feed towards the like solvent, and at the end when it will be leaving as extract phase, it will contain both of these components. And this is the case where we are talking about mutually insoluble or immiscible solvents. Both of the solvent available already in the feed as well as newly introduced solvent, they are just immiscible, insoluble in each other. They don't have affinity for each other. So due to this reason, you can see here that extract phase that contain major component of the solvent, but only the solute which is transferred from feed to this. There is no way. And the raffinate phase, definitely, because they don't have affinity for each other, so none of the solvent will be transferred towards this. Only this component A and leftover B, which is not just extracted towards the solvent, will be here. But the second case is when they are like partially miscible, partially soluble, which we talked about. That was the case of the third point on the last slide. So both of the solvent has some affinity for each other. So similarly, both of these are entering A and B, and other solvent C is entering, and then you just give pass through the extractor. Later, just settle them, separate them. So there is extract and raffinate phase. So in this case, you can easily see A component as a part of this major stream of the C, and this is that case of acetic acid and water system. So in that case, that was leaving, and that contained some part of the component which was initially here the carrier of the solvent of the feed. As well, raffinate phase, in this case major component is the feed part, also the solute which is not removed, and some part of the solvent is also transferred towards this, because they are partially soluble, partially miscible with each other. So let's move forward, and we will start with the first part. Although we have to discuss these in detail, we will be just looking at some of the equations as well to do some calculations. So because as these are two system which can occur, which can happen, which are part of like liquid extraction system, so we will discuss them separately. First, we are starting with that in which we just consider that they are completely immiscible, the first case which we just studied. So in that case, they are completely immiscible, both of the solvent, they don't have affinity for each other. Like for example, here we have considered just one stage for the extraction. So in this stage, when the solute component which is extracted and it is just become part of the some part become part of the solvent stream C component, or this and other is just left over here. So in this case, the unextracted B, which is the solute is B, and that is unextracted, that is not extracted completely, so that will be leaving part as a part of A in the raffinate stream, while which is extracted will be part of the extract phase, or will become part of that solvent stream which was introduced to this system externally. So here, experimental data for liquid-liquid extraction or liquid-liquid equilibrium are often reported in the form of mass fraction instead of mole fraction, because majorly, you know that here there are the liquids, and when we are talking about the liquid, so in case of liquid, usually represent the data in the form of mass fraction. So in this case, for example, we have a minute. Sorry, I have a call. So okay, from here, like when you will be doing these calculation, you will be talking about mass fraction instead of mole fraction. Data is represented in that. And let's consider here we represent the flow rate of like component A in this stream as a FA, which is a part of feed. So because we have to make one equation here just about the solute. So let's say FA is the mass flow rate of this carrier A in the feed, and that is equal to mass flow rate of carrier A in the raffinate. It is possible only in that case that anything which is just entering to this extractor, this LLE equipment, that anything which was part of the feed stream that is leaving same as a raffinate, only possible when they are completely immiscible. Nothing of A is transferred towards the extract phase. So in that case, this FA will remain same either on the feed side, like on inlet or outlet. Like on the other end, we like have another solvent which is component C, and let's say that its flow rate is S, just represented with this S. So if it's
सर आफ्ताब लॉबी में वेट कर रहा है, उसको एंटर कर ले मीटिंग में.
नहीं सर मैं एंटर हो गया, अभी हो गया मैं एंट्री.
Right, thank you. I think any member can allow if someone is waiting. Maybe, I don't know, but okay, fine. So here I was saying that on the other end, if flow rate of this component or solute which you introduce is S, so if we want to look that it is not miscible with the feed, so in that case it will also be like same at the inlet, equal to outlet or extract phase only when they don't have affinity. Here, just to derive an equation, let's consider that calculation are facilitated if composition are in mass ratios. We will be represented mass ratios with the capital X, and I think some similar kind of notation was also used in our textbook in chapter 6 when we were talking about the absorption. There were capital X and Y, something like this. So here, like capital X is the main ratio between the mass. You know that mass fraction are represented with x small I. So here x capital I we will be using, and that means that it is ratio between the mass or mass flow rate of various components. So for example, if we say xb, b was the solute, and like let's say xb represent the ratio of mass of solute B to the mass of carrier A. Mean initially when B is part of that stream from where it is just entering like to the system, like if we take as a XB of the feed, so XB of the feed mean like in the feed stream the ratio of mass of solute B to the mass of carrier A. Similarly, you can write it for the raffinate, for example, because B also still remains some part in the A along with A in the raffinate. So in that case, we can just put it here somewhere like in form of superscript, like to just differentiate from the feed. If you will write XB in the raffinate, so then that means that mass of the solute B in the raffinate to the mass of carrier A in the raffinate. So while we will be just using here the terminology YB, kindly this Y is not about mole fraction because it's already told you that here everything we will be talking about the mass. So YB, just to just differentiate from this, in your textbook he is using this terminology YB. So YB is actually ratio of mass of solute B to the mass of solvent C, and in this case which we are discussing, definitely it will be only in case of extract, because B is transferred from feed towards the solvent C and then it becomes part of the extract stream. So that will be represented with YB, but if you just want to remember, you can put here at the top as E, extract, in that case. So let's apply a mass balance on solute C. That will be as follows. Solute is not C, sorry, here there is a like typo, it is B, solute is the B, so we are applying balance on the solute. So if you just go back to diagram and just apply the balance on the solute, so it will be like here, because we know that this is physical system, no reaction is taking place. So mass of B in, that is only in the form of feed, that will be equal to mass of B like in the extract stream, as well as plus like mass of extract in the like raffinate stream, because solvent stream initially don't have any mass. So on inlet you have only one term, and on outlet you will have two term output. So I just look at that equation, and that equation is like solute flow rate in the feed, because it is only at the inlet part of the feed, and solute flow rate in extract plus solute flow rate in the raffinate phase. Let's write it in the form of terminology which we just discussed, and later we have to just make some equation for K. So in that case, like we know that suppose mass of this solute at the inlet in the feed. So how you can represent it here in this case, so that we are writing it XB in the feed. XB, just you studied that XB was the ratio between mass of solute in the feed to the this F indicates feed to the mass of like carrier component, that is component A here, so mass flow rate or mass of carrier in the feed, multiply by, when you will multiply it with the mass or mass flow rate of component A, so that will cancel and you will be actually getting only the term solute flow rate, but we will be just representing it in this form of mass ratios. So similarly for solute flow rate in extract, so if you want to write it in extract, and YB was the ratio of like mass of the solute in the extract phase divided by mass of like solvent, which was component C in that case in the extract phase, multiply by, then definitely S is the mass or mass flow rate of the this component C in that case, so they will cancel, and again you will be only getting solute flow rate in the extract, but have to be written in this ratio of the mass. And the next one also like similar way in the raffinate phase, because at outlet it is part of extract as well as raffinate, so due to this we will be using mass ratio between of both component like B versus A in raffinate multiplied by flow rate of A, and because we know that this flow rate remains same either it is on the feed side or the raffinate side because of immiscible solvent. So the like phase equilibrium ratio for distribution of B, because B is distributed between extract and raffinate phase, so that can be represented as, because you remember, if you remember, I told you equation K, and K was equal to if you recall, that was concentration of B in the extract to the concentration of B in the raffinate, because we are talking about here mass and mass ratio, so we will write it mean distribution coefficient for the component B between two phases. It will be the mass ratio of this component in extract phase to the mass ratio of this component in the raffinate phase. So we are just representing same thing but in the form of these mass ratios. So what we can do here, from here we can just get the value of kd is equal to ybe over xbr, and you just put it in this equation and rearrange the equation, and finally when we just put it in that equation, so in the form of we have modified, just please do these 2-3 mathematical steps and you will just rearrange the equation to get the xb is the mass ratio of component B in the raffinate phase. That this will be providing you actually the ratio of how much B is still not extracted because it is part of raffinate. So this formula will give you provide you help to calculate this. So just further we can modify this equation. Let's divide this equation, which is 4.34. We are just dividing this equation by FA of each term of this R by FA. Let's go back and look. If you just divide on the right side of the equation each term by FA, here it will cancel with the FA. Here FA will cancel and 1 will be left over, and here you will have something KDS over FA. Actually we want to just simplify it and bring it in some new from here terminology or the constant. So when you will just divide, you will get this equation in that 1 plus, because here FA was cancelled, here was cancelled, and here FA will appear as a denominator. So this is S like flow rate of the solvent C, this Kb distribution coefficient for the component B, and Fa is flow rate of the component A in the either feed or the raffinate side. So this like factor, which is skd over Fa, it is just defined as the extraction factor. They represent it with this epsilon. So extract factor is actually a ratio of this distribution coefficient multiplied by solvent C flow rate, solvent externally introduced solvent flow rate, to the carrier flow rate or initial solvent, which is part of the feed. So if you just replace this here in this equation, so what you will get, xbr is equal to xbf over 1 plus epsilon. So then if you want to just take the ratio between these two, like xb in the raffinate stream to the xb in the feed stream, and that will be something fraction of B unextracted, because you know that in raffinate stream xb was simply mass of component B in this raffinate stream divided by mass of component A, which is like here Fa. So divided by, when you will look at this feed, again like mass of component B in the feed stream to the mass of component A, because Fa is same in both cases. This is immiscible system. Fa will cancel, so it will be the like ratio between the mass of component B, which is part of the raffinate stream, to initially it was part of the feed stream, and that will be that part which is still not extracted. So it is fraction of B unextracted, that can be found with the help of 1 plus 1 over epsilon. We can just find it with the help of this. So this is just equation. Finally, if you have to find how much fraction of B is unextracted, or in any question, for example, you are given this and you have to find epsilon and some other calculation, so you can use this equation to find those cases. But these are only applicable whenever we are talking about the system in which both of the solvent, which is solvent is C and A, they are immiscible. But when they will be miscible, definitely these equations will not be same, and then this data can't be used. So let's quickly look at the application of all this stuff, these equations. So this is from your book, example 4.6, single stage extraction of acetic acid. So methyl isobutyl ketone is used as a solvent to remove acetic acid from 13,500 kg per hour feed. Like here feed flow rate is given to you, and what you have to do, see he mentioned like you have to use methyl isobutyl ketone. This is externally introduced solvent. Due to this, he has just mentioned with the same terminology C, which we were using in the last discussion, is used as a solvent. This is a solvent to remove acetic acid. We have to remove acetic acid, that is component B solute, from a feed which has a flow rate of 13,500 kg per hour, and of that feed 8% is acetic acid. Mean there is like 8% of this 13,500 is acetic acid, and rest is like water, because he mentioned here to remove this from a feed flow rate of 8% acetic acid in water. Because distillation, already we talked about this topic or this condition, this application, like to use liquid extraction, because if you go for distillation, as far as acetic acid, like boiling point was around, I think 118 or 120 degrees C, and for water it is 100. So if you go for distillation, you have to evaporate like 92% of the water in that case, so in order to go with the distillation, so that is not suitable process. We will usually go for liquid extraction. So if raffinate is to contain, he already also told you that how much acetic acid can still be part of the raffinate stream, which is leaving, that is only 1%, like other is 99% of the raffinate will be water. Estimate the kg per hour of the solvent needed for a single equilibrium stage. In this case, we are supposed to find the flow rate of this component C, and its flow rate was mentioned as a capital S in the like equations. If C and A are assumed to be insoluble, like in each other, you just consider here that they are insoluble, they are immiscible with each other. So it means you can apply all those equations which we have just discussed. That case can be applied here. So like another term which was maybe you needed for calculation, a distribution coefficient for this component, which is like acetic acid between isobutyl and water, so that is also given 0.657. So if you just go back to the equation and check quickly, you can use one of the equation which contains solvent flow rate, and that was this epsilon that contained S. So we can find it as well. You can look at the other equation, but when you will look, they will be like more complex or difficult. Instead of this is easy to do. Because if you look at this here, there are 4 terms, and out of those, this one is given, like distribution coefficient is given. And do you know this flow rate? Yes, it is given, because this is flow rate of the carrier of the initially solvent, which is water in this case. So that is because 92% of the system here, we know, like acetic acid is 8%, and this of 13,500, 92% will be water. So it means we have 2 terms here. The third one, which is epsilon, this is just missing. So it can be found somehow, because there was one other relationship, as you remember this one, just relating epsilon with the XBR to the XBF. So somehow if we can find the value of B going to the raffinate and the feed, and that is easy to find, because you know its amount in the feed, and can take the ratio of the mass as well. You know that how much it will be going to the raffinate side. He told you 1%, so this can also be found. So we can just rearrange this equation, because we are looking for epsilon instead of this all other stuff. So rearrange to get this equation. So let's find this XBF and XBR, like mass fraction of not mass fraction, sorry, mass ratio of component B in the feed and in raffinate. So quickly, you know that XBF means mass of solute in the feed, and that mass of the mass flow rate here, sorry, it will be like, instead of mass, it will be mass flow rate of the solute in feed to the mass flow rate of the carrier, which was water in that case, in the feed. So you know their values, like one is 8% of the flow rate, and other is 92%. Their ratio can be easily found. Other is like we have like mass ratios of the B in the raffinate side, mass flow rate of the solute in the raffinate to the mass flow rate of the carrier in the raffinate. So here the problem is you don't have mass flow rate, but you have the ratios, like, because he told you that 1% of the raffinate is acetic acid, we know it's mean 1% is this, 99% will be water, but we don't know exact amount. So there is even no need of exact amount, because if we know the exact amount, suppose that value as x, you multiply here x, you will be also multiplying here with the x. So x will cancel, and that will still remain as a ratio of their composition, how much it is. It is 1% and other is 99%. So that will give you this value. Here from this you can see same. Still, if we know the flow rate, this will cancel, and the main part is this one, which is how much it is part of the stream. So that you can find easy to go with this. So when we have found these, we can use above equation and can find epsilon. So that is 7.61 in this case. Like we just put the values of xdf and xdr and see that then because if you remember, when we started with this equation, we said both half these are known, only the leftover was this which we have found. So we can go back to the equation and can solve it. So s will be equal to something like this, 7.61, which is the value of I think epsilon multiply the flow rate of this mean component A, and that was 92% of the feed, and divided by this KD. So we will get the flow rate of the solvent. So from here, one thing I would like to talk about, this solvent flow rate, which we need here for some extraction. This is dependent on some of the factors, for example, here we can just suppose change the solvent, this distribution coefficient will change. If some solute you bring, some solvent which has very high affinity towards some solvent, and if this value is higher, definitely your solvent flow rate reduces. So whenever you are selecting the solvent, so it should have already, although we discussed that it should have good affinity towards the main solute which you want to remove. So in that case, it is necessary to select a good solvent to have less flow rate than needed to get some specific separation. So this was all the case which we discussed, that was related to those systems in which your solvents are immiscible. But as we know that this is not commonly encountered case. The commonly encountered case is when they are partially miscible or partially soluble with each other. When both of the solvent are partially soluble, partially miscible with each other, then extract as well as raffinate stream will be containing all of the components. So when they all are contained, if you have to do some calculation to find such kind of flow rates and those things, then how to proceed? Let's just start with this lecture. So tomorrow then we will continue with this. So I will just introduce you with some basic things. From last lecture which we were discussing, this slide we have discussed that the second picture is related to those cases in which you have partially miscible or partially soluble solvents. So if you have to deal with them, then how to proceed? So when A and C are partially soluble in each other and component B distributes between extract and raffinate phases, this is the common case which you will be not normally coming across. So here we will be using some kind of phase diagrams which are constructed from experimental data for liquid extraction for various components, and we'll be using those diagrams to find these flow rate and do other calculations. For example, here we will just consider a simplest case of ternary system in which there is a water and ethyl glycol, while your solvent is furfural, which we are calling C solvent. And here solute is ethylene glycol. The system which we are going to look at, actually I will show you some data which is experimental data for these and how diagram is given, and then we will just quickly talk about what that diagram is, but later then we'll continue with the same. So water is the carrier here. Actually ethylene glycol is part of the water stream, and you want to remove it. To remove it, this is the hydrocarbon, so you will bringing it in contact with some other hydrocarbon, and furfural is one of the aldehyde hydrocarbon, and they are available at this temperature and pressure. Why it is given? Because we are looking for equilibrium data, so we have to find experimentally, so we should be aware about the temperature pressure conditions. So here is mentioned something, okay, bubble point pressure, bubble point is used for mixture, then bubble point pressure will be that pressure at which like first bubble is formed, keeping the like temperature is constant, specific temperature you are using and you are varying the pressure, so you have to note down that. So here water glycol, which is the feed, and then when that ethylene glycol is transferred toward the newly introduced solvent peripheral, so there will be like peripheral ethylene glycol. They are completely miscible binary pair. Like initially ethylene glycol was complete part of this stream, but we want to remove ethylene glycol from the water, so due to this we bring it contact with the peripheral, and when they get contacted, then it is also completely miscible, completely solved in ethylene glycol. Whatever, like suppose 90%, 95% of this is transferred from water to this, that is completely miscible. But you know that because this is the system in which solvent has also some affinity for each other, so water and peripheral, they will also have making something, and that is partially miscible binary pair. Partially miscible means that this didn't make any homogeneous solvent, they didn't get mixed completely, they still get separated into two separate streams like extract and raffinate, but some of one is transferred to the other and other is transferred to the first one. So as solute is ethylene glycol, so peripheral is a solvent which is removed or used for this. To remove it has affinity, good affinity for this. So peripheral rich stream, because this was a solvent and its rich stream is always named as extract, while the water rich stream is named as the raffinate stream. So this is some of the data, although this diagram definitely is complex for you, and I'm just showing you this diagram. We will go through some of the steps that how these kind of diagram are constructed. Then at the end of this, like liquid liquid section topics, definitely you will be able to draw this diagram, use these kind of diagrams. So in this diagram, because we have three components, shown data is shown here in this table: peripheral, ethylene glycol, and water, and various components of these are given, and their concentrations are given, and by using those concentration, actually we draw this curve which is shown inside the diagram with this like curve you can see overall. Here some many things are mentioned on this diagram. For example, here is mentioned raffinate, here is mentioned extract, and then there is some miscibility boundary, plate point, all tie lines, all these things will be cleared, discussed later on. But we have to take all this data experimentally, and we can draw such kind of diagram, and then later these are used to do some calculation to find, for example, these flow rates, as well later to calculate the number of stages required for specific liquid acceptance systems. I will just explain few things here. Like when you look at such kind of diagram, first of all, as you can see in this diagram also, there are three corners of this triangle, and they contain the name of some components. For example, here you can see water at the bottom, one component. Then there is ethylene glycol, and there is peripheral is mentioned. So I think there is no problem, you can mention any of these anywhere, but then there will be issue that the shape of this diagram, like when you will draw this curve, that will change. For example, if you put water here instead of ethylene glycol, and when ethylene glycol is put it here, it will become like this then. So that is difficult to read whenever you are looking at the paper. Instead of this, if you just the easy way is to remember this: any solute which you are using, that should be put at the top of the like triangle, and solvent are put at the bottom ends. Any of the solvent you can put on any side. This will just flip the diagram in such a way that raffinate will come to the extract side here and extract to the raffinate, so that is not big issue. But just if you don't put it here on any end, you will be putting actually this curve, when you will plot, it will be facing towards this, and in that case then wherever you put it, it will be facing towards it. It is at the top, so it is facing it towards the top. This is, just remember this, when you have to draw, you have to put solute at the top of this. So This been in your textbook, the link is provided that you can just download from this. Also I have provided here the link. These charts, because they contain initially the number, they don't have anything written on them, just number and lines are there. Then just you can put your own components on the diagram. You can just name them wherever you want to. So you can just download and just get them printed while you are at home and later practice these kind of problems. So the link is provided here. So in these kind of all of the diagrams, so few points are important to be cleared. Each apex or vertex of triangle, vertex or apex mean just that mean corner of the triangle. Here in the triangle we have 3 corners, so each of these corners, wherever you will be looking at that point, that means we are talking about the pure component, and pure component mean any component which is available there. For example, here in this diagram there are 3 components are shown. One is water, one is trichloroethane, and other is acetone. So for all these 3 components, there will be like pure component, or the value of water here will be 100%, mean here it is 100%. Later when we will just move inside, I will tell you how it is changing and other are introduced. So here it is water is 100% pure water, trichloroethane is here 100%, and acetone is 100%. While when you look at the edge of any of these triangle, so edge mean actually this is some one side of the triangle that is called edge. So when you look at this, for example, on this side, this is one edge, second edge, and the third edge. So when you will be just moving across this outer boundary of this diagram, which is on the outer line on any of these lines, so those lines will be indicating that that is mixture of 2 pure components. Like for example, we talk about this acetone and trichloroethane. If I just move along this line, so along this line it is just acetone and the trichloroethane. Like just look here, when I am at this point, acetone, you know that at the corner it is 100%, and when I will reach here it is pure 100%. So in between, for example, when we come to this point, at this point now acetone has like somehow reduced, and because we said along this line it is a 2 component mixture, so other components should have definitely introduced. So this is usually here written 90, so it's mean here acetone is 90%, and then definitely 10% will be the other component. So let's move at this line, it is 80 suppose. So acetone is 80 and other component is 20. Acetone is 70 and other component is like 30, and then here acetone is 60, acetone is 50, acetone is reducing, you are looking at, and other component is increasing as we are just moving towards that. Then it is 40 acetone, 30 acetone, 20 acetone, 10 acetone, and when you will reach to this point, so then there will be like 0 acetone and 100% trichloroethane. For example, you are given like your feed contain these 2 components and where point will be located. You can see like here somewhere, I mean on this line, for example, acetone is the solute and that is only 1%. So you will be very close to this point, and if this is the solvent initially, trichloroethane suppose, that is 99% and acetone is only 1%. So if we want to locate our point on the diagram, so we will be just on this line because we are just talking about 2 points, and overall somewhere here will be located like 1%. While similarly you can talk about any of these line, water and acetone line, like for example here water is 100%, as you keep on moving upward at any point on this line water will be reducing and acetone will be increasing, and similar reverse in the opposite case, and same on this. But inside the diagram, when we will be looking at any point inside the diagram, then definitely all of these components will be there. And I think from next lecture we will talk about this, that when we look at inside the diagram, what does that mean, and how the points are located. But just for your information here, as we said that like on the edge, when we are on one of the edge, and on that only 2 components exist, it's mean like here only water and acetone, for example, on this line exists. So for this line definitely the third component will be 0%, and third component this just opposite to this line. And for example, when we were talking about this acetone and trichloroethane, is on this line there is no water is 0%. Yes, but when we will just move inside this, water will be there, but on this line these are only two components. Like as I mentioned inside about this diagram, how they are mentioned inside the diagram. So I will just start it from here tomorrow. So thank you so much, and kindly I will advise you just quickly revise this again so that you can just move with me in the next lecture, because maybe this is totally new thing for you, these kind of Fermi diagram, how they are drawn and what are the components there. So just kindly look at this once so that when tomorrow again we start with this, we can just